Do you currently feel like we're in a time warp? Pwah. My friends, welcome to Taurus. All right, this is grounding of all the energy that has previously been unfolding through all of this noise. As you can see, currently we are starting to experience discussions between the US and China, as well as the US and other nations across the world. Why is this? Well, simply the massive trade wars that have been happening around the world have surpassed everything. The war in Ukraine, the Gaza, Israel scenarios, and there is pretty much almost no noise about that at the moment. And the focus continues to be on economic instability, a possible recession on the loom, and of course the interest rate, the US interest rate um, with the Federal Reserve and Chair Jerome Powell, and of course, the economic trade tariffs. However, what I do want to say to you right now is that all of this fundamental shift and change started to happen when there was really one thing that unfolded, and that was, of course, DeepSeek AI, which has started to interfere and confuse all of Wall Street, which, might I just say, makes up pretty much for the majority of the large seven. Well, the seven horsemen. All right. And the thing about this at this point in time is that they make up for about 35% of the total US value. So at the end of the day, you want to look at this from a very, very close perspective. Close, but far enough to see the bull through all the bullshit, right? Because the long-term play is at what is the most important component of today. And this is why, my friends, I need you to go ahead and subscribe to the Crypto Bliss community right down there below so that you know when you will be informed of more brilliant information like this. All right, you can see you've obviously been enjoying all of my videos recently, so thank you once again to the Crypto Bliss community. I'd love to know from you if you've been enjoying all of the content. Let me know down in the comments below. Let's jump straight into today's beautiful scenarios, starting off with of course, Bitcoin. Now, I have previously shown you in multiple videos, and quite ironically and interestingly so, look at where we currently are on this position, okay? I drew this for you in a scenario that told us we would hit a little bit of, I said we would bounce. Look at this. The moving average is not quite doing what I said, but it's going somewhat accordingly, okay? If I had to pull this a little bit more to the side, that would very much align up. But you can see here I drew this resistance, and this resistance on the moving averages, which are quite synchronistic, as you can see here. So bounce in between these moving averages, break out of the 200 daily moving average. As you can see right here, the 200 is the blue moving average, and we have now also broken out back out of the 50 moving average, okay, and we are retesting the 20 moving average at this point right here at this moment. Now, I did say that we would bounce around a little bit. Look how perfectly to the D it was. Up, down, right in this moment, okay, even though we're sideways here, down, okay, then a pump up, which is what's happened. A breakthrough, we've hit the resistance up here, which is what I said we would do. We would pull back to this point here, which could mean back down to 86,200. Who knows, guys? And then a strong move and a breakthrough out here, sort of pumping up to the 90K level, probably a little bit of a pullback on support on this breakout, and then a massive pump right back up to at least this 100K level up here. Let's go right there. That's probably where it's going to go. 99,500, okay? That's probably where we're seeking to get out right now. Now, I have been pointing this out to you that this is the left shoulder, this is the head, and we are forming the right shoulder right here, which means that that would become a shoulder, a head, and a shoulder pattern, which means that the inevitable breakout will take place at some point. And I have pointed out to you previously that that would be on the 7th of May. Nothing has changed just yet. However, with the market, the S&P 500 obviously being closed right now, we're seeing the move up here. We're seeing the MACD push and break out. And yeah, perhaps we sit at the top here a little bit. But for now, the S&P 500 is a little bit oversold. With that being said, have a look at the dollar. Okay. The dollar right now, my friends, as you can see here, has taken a massive beating and a massive crash. And now we have officially a high and a lower high right here. So this is a failed attempt of this breakout here, which pushed us right back down, right through all of the support that we have in this area. It is down to the 3-year low at $98. Have a look here. Now, the very interesting thing about this is, okay, observe, we are currently sitting at the bottom on the stochastic RSI. We are currently sitting at pretty much close to the bottom on the MACD. We are sitting pretty much close to the support line, down-sloping support line, which we broke out, retested a little bit, broke up, and this kind of gave us a little bit of a lower high, as you can see here. Now we're pulling down here. So essentially, if you look at the long term on the dollar, we really are just in a range zone in this area between 105 and 95, okay? Now, the interesting thing here and the interesting scenarios is that the closer you look here, there is perhaps a bounce on the dollar potentially coming. Now, I can't guarantee that that's going to happen, but the M2 money supply says, look how perfectly it's moving to this. It says a break up here, okay, a bit of a pump here. So do we hit this bottom level of 95 before we make a pullback right up to this down sloping resistance level, which would end up being in alignment with the moving averages, plus lower highs on the M2 supply? Now, the interesting scenario is that from 23rd of May, we start to go sideways on the dollar, and then 16 June, the dollar starts to pump. Is that when perhaps we should see the Federal Reserve loosen their grip on the economic interest rates? The signs are all telling. It could be between the 7th of May and essentially the 19th of June. I'm predicting, and certainly, guys, you can see I don't have a little lamp here that I'm busy rubbing, but I'm predicting based on data that that would be our time frame, which means that these are the signals you should be watching to know how to position yourselves for this market. And that's why you should go ahead, subscribe to my Crypto Bliss community down below, get yourself a Bybit deposit of $30,000 down below by using my Bybit link down below. My trade has now been in profit for the last few days, but it is now in really healthy profit, about 14% on this trade, which I am so grateful for. And I have been buying the bottoms here. I have not bought this bottom here. Right now, I was just very satisfied with where I am. So for me, we're now making our way up here on the Bollinger Band, which kind of meets at this, as you can see, the 200 moving average, estimated moving average, which is kind of up here at 90,000. So I predict a smash through this zone up to, as I said, the 95, and then a bit of a pullback, and then a breakthrough to retest these previous 109,000 all-time highs. Let me know what your thoughts are down below. Roast me in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you believe. Now, with the dollar collapsing, Bitcoin really has recovered from the tariffs sell off and buy back up. So if you are not in this, you need to position yourselves now, all right? Because despite the bearish pressures, the Bitcoin risk index right now is currently in the low risk regime. If you know what that means, we will see massive pumps to the upside from here on outwards. And here, every economic condition really is good for Bitcoin. This is the effects of inflation and the economy. So with Bitcoin in the center of this, inside falling inflation, economics slowing down, economics speeding up, and inflation rising, cash does best in this scenario, but Bitcoin does best in all scenarios because it is gobbling up day by day by day, week by week by week, year by year by year, month by month by month, the insane liquidity that comes from all of these environments and all of these sectors. And really, the steps up and down in Bitcoin, when you truly look at the bigger picture, really is just an upward trend throughout history. So my suggestion to you truly is that we are witnessing one of the end of a 700-year decline in interest rates, the inflection point of an entire era. So since 1310, we have had interest rates come right down. All right, but literally we could be bouncing back up here at this current point in time. This is massive, and I love this comment here from Bitcoin Dad Thoughts. Okay, this is a pathway to net zero energy infusion combined with AI and robotics. Zero yield money, i.e., Bitcoin, will replace credit money. We were too early in the 1900s, which is why the gold standard was attempted and failed. We may still be 100 years too early. I don't know. But at the end of the day, you can see here, we are just continuing to go up in Bitcoin. And here is why. The new China M2 money supply has hit a new all-time high of 326 trillion yen. Look at this. 1997, they were down here at kind of just maybe a 5 to 7 trillion, 10 trillion yen. Now we're up 30x on that in today's time, and that is 30 years later. That's a 10x every single decade. That means it's a 1x every single year. How? Where would you put your money? Where would you put your money? Let me know down in the comments below, because right now, and I'm going to have a look at this chart for us here, plus this chart here. It's a 1, just a pit stop on the climb up Mount Everest. Really, this throughout history has been so volatile, so long-term uptrend. Look at where we're at on the stochastic right here, the RSI, okay? We are literally under the 50. All times when we were overheated, we would need to get up into the close to the 90 to 100. We are nowhere near that. Where do you think we're going? We're getting ready to bounce hard. That's another signal for you, my beautiful community. And of course, gold in 2025 has added 5.5 trillion. That is literally 3x the total Bitcoin market cap today that it has done in 2025. And as you can see here, these are absolutely shocking record day candles on Bitcoin. Okay, I mean on gold, excuse me. Boom, that gobbled almost everything. Look at this. Buy. This is gobbling up everything here right now. And as you can see in the chart, we literally have had non-stop record days buys in gold. Now, is gold, and we've had that while we were meant to an M2 money supply pull out of gold, but that didn't really happen. We actually did the complete opposite. So here is the clue for you, my beautiful Crypto Bliss community. You can see here that there is a decoupling of buying in US dollars, gold, and the M2 supply out of gold. That hasn't happened. We've had a decoupling here right now, which means that there is economic uncertainty on a whole nother level. Okay. And if that is busy happening, that means that money is being debased by the most important and fundamental assets on this planet. Starting with gold clearly leading the charge here and adding 5.5 trillion over the course of the year, and Bitcoin starting to make its way to and turn right back up with a very, very clear breakout out of this falling wedge with the signal and the target at the 109,000 peak. Okay, we're starting to make our way back up to that point. And so you can see here right now that with gold, yes, we may hover a little bit up there, but this is telling us right now that the market is broken. The market is fleeing to safety, and right now the safety they know is gold. The safety they are yet to experience is Bitcoin. Okay, the flight will come into Bitcoin, and if you can imagine Bitcoin getting 5.5 trillion in a year, well, we'll have a little bit of a look later on what that does to Bitcoin. But for now, more than 60 new wallets holding over 1,000 BTC have appeared since early March, a signal of increasing whale activity in Bitcoin. That's another clue. And here is another one. I've showed you on the Bollinger Bands. We're breaking out, okay? This is from CryptoBerg. We literally are breaking out of this resistance level today. Is it going to be a fake out? I'm not sure, but I doubt so.
We worked with Congress to try to get a framework, a legal framework for stable coins, which would have been a nice place to start. We were not successful. I think that the climate is changing and you're moving into sort of more mainstreaming of that whole sector. So Congress is again looking at, both the Senate and the House are looking at a framework, a legal framework for stable coins. You know, depending on what's in it, that's a good idea. We need that. There isn't one now. And stable coins are a product, a digital product that could actually have fairly wide appeal and should contain consumer protections of the typical sorts and transparency. And that's what the Senate and the House are working on. So that's a positive thing. You know, we took a pretty conservative, and other bank regulators took an even more conservative perspective on the guidance and rules we imposed on banks. I think there'll be some loosening of that. And I think we'll try to do it in a way that preserves safety and soundness, but that, you know, permits and fosters appropriate innovation, that does so in a way that, again, doesn't put consumers at risk in a way they don't understand or make banks less safe and sound.
I think you like what you're seeing, right? Crypto is going mainstream and bank rules on crypto are to be relaxed. Now, here is the beautiful thing behind this, is that Bitcoin plans for the next few weeks. A breakout, a confirmed breakout of the downsloping trend that I showed you, the falling wedge pattern. A breakout, retest, push up, breakout through this level, retest, breakout, pullback. Breakout is what I've been showing you too. So my friends, if you're enjoying the content, make sure you give the video an awesome thumbs up. I would much appreciate that for the YouTube algorithm. Make some noise for that YouTube algorithm, guys. Come on, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Right here, let's go, let's go. Bitcoin, you are definitely not bullish enough with the USDT dominance potentially falling even further in its percentage, and Bitcoin price therefore rushing to the upside. Now, I have something very important to share with you in a moment. But first, right now, we are currently going towards belief, which means that we are coming towards the potential of the next few months of upside, and then we will start to see a peak out in Bitcoin. Who knows what happens beyond that point? But once we are in the euphoric stage, potentially up at the 300, 500, $1 million Bitcoin, I don't know. My target is 300,000, and I'll talk about that in a moment. For now, I'd like to say that Ray Dalio is worried about something that's worse than a recession. Let's hear what he has to say.
I think that right now we are at a decision-making point and very close to a recession. And I'm worried about something worse than a recession if this isn't handled well. A recession is 2 negative quarters of GDP, and whether it goes slightly there, we always have those things. We have something that's much more profound. We have a breaking down of the monetary order. We are going to change the monetary order because we cannot spend the amounts of money, so we have that problem. And when we talk about the dollar and we talk about tariffs, we have that. We are having profound changes in our domestic order, how ruling is existing, and we're having profound changes in the world order. Such times are very much like the 1930s. I've studied history, and this repeats over and over again. So if you take tariffs, if you take debt, if you take the rising power challenging existing power, if you take those factors and look at the factors, those changes in the orders, the systems, are very, very disruptive. How that's handled could produce something that is much worse than a recession.
I think you see what it is that I'm saying now throughout this entire video. And here's why I need you to listen to this last few moments of this video. Stay right here with me, because I am about to absolutely send this rocket through the moon for you. Okay, not me personally in Bitcoin, that's not what I'm saying, but this video. So make sure you make some noise for me on this video. Gold currently sitting at a $23 trillion market cap at $3,415, has continued to grow over the last few days. Apple sitting at a $3 trillion market cap. Bitcoin holding steady at $1.7 trillion market cap. My friends, we are about to, without a doubt, over the next 2 to 3 weeks, see Bitcoin start to chew away at the top 7 here: Amazon, Alphabet, Nvidia, Microsoft, Apple, which it has already chewed away at Meta, and of course Tesla. Now, the very interesting thing about these horsemen is that they're all sitting at around the $2.5 to $3 trillion market cap. I wonder where we'll be heading to from here. Well, with Bitcoin, okay, if Bitcoin had to do what gold has done this year and add an additional $5.5 trillion in this year to its market cap, I wonder where it would go. Well, let's find out. But first of all, we can see that we're still in the fear. Now, usually what the rule is in all markets is buy when the markets are in fear and sell when they're in greed. That's it. That's how easy it is. And so I would suggest to you right now, let's go and have a look at the Bitcoin market cap calculator. All right. You guys know that I always use this. So we're using Tether in this market cap scenario. If we had to go and say, back up to the $100,000 level, take us back up to 1.9 trillion. You would say that that's quite easy, right, to achieve at this point. Now, here's the interesting fact, my friend, and actually, let's just keep it at one Bitcoin price scenario. Here is the interesting fact, is that when Bitcoin goes from 100,000 to 200, 300, 400, 500, a million, okay, this is the scenario right here, right now. That is what will give confidence to the global economy in Bitcoin. Why is that? Well, when Bitcoin is currently sitting at a $1.9 trillion market cap, as you can see, it is around about that, is sitting in the number 8th position of the top assets by market cap in the world. The higher it goes, the better its reputation becomes, the better people trust this asset that it is and is the number 1 digital gold asset on the planet. And it will at some point surpass gold and gold's market cap. So we will have a look at those scenarios. I don't know when that's going to be, but let's go and have a look at the scenario, right? Because every single time it goes up $100,000, okay? So $200,000. It's now sitting at a $4 trillion market cap, all right? $200,000, it's a different asset class, which means it takes us beyond at $4 trillion, where Apple is today, and places us in second position to gold. I'm not saying that these won't increase, because there will be lots of money printing from China, lots of money printing from the US coming in. There will be a huge gold sell-off. And where is that going to come from? That's going to come very likely from the US revaluing their gold in this market. Okay, from the $42 it is, $38, $42 it is today, valued at back from the 1970s, to today at $3,400 or $3,500. My friends, that is that's 100x gain. That's 100x. All right. Imagine they take that and they start to sell that off. All right. I think I need to do a calculation for you. So what we're going to say, trade size lots. Okay, let's just say in fact, yeah, because the US holds about 8,000, right? So they're saying they're going to do something like that. We're going to say that this is $42. In fact, let's say they bought it at $38. I'm going to say $35 here, okay? They bought that at $35 and they're going to sell it at, let's just say they agreed to sell it at $5,000, okay? Let's see what this calculation ends up being for us, okay? That is a 2.77 quadrillion result if they had to sell all of that. It means that gold would then have fuck all market cap, okay? If they did that. I highly doubt they're going to do all of that because they will still hold gold being the number one asset and hence gold running up like this because it is a safe haven. Now, even if they took 1 billion or, 100 billion or 100 billion to $1 trillion in market cap, what would that do for Bitcoin? Oh, my friends, okay, we're going to add now another 1 trillion to this, okay? That takes us to 250,000. So you see how we can jump up from 100,000 to 250,000 like this. We could literally spike up 200,000, drop 150,000, spike up again another 200,000, drop 50,000. With the market will at some point become uncontrollably excited. And this is why my target is 300,000 for this cycle, okay? The peak of the cycle. Whenever that happens, I said to you 25th of October, 2025 is my view, but it could be pushed out because of everything that has been slowing this pace of this market down, okay? So 300,000 is quite an easy market to achieve, right? Let's start to get a little bit closer to gold's market cap. 400,000 takes us to an $8 trillion market cap. 500,000 takes us to a $10 trillion market cap on Bitcoin, okay? We're starting to chew up what gold's market cap is too, right? 600,000 takes us to 1.2. For every 100,000, we're adding 2 trillion to the market cap. 700,000 gives us 14 trillion. 800,000 gives us 16 trillion. 900,000 gives us 18 trillion. Well, guess what? A million gives us just about gold's market cap today. Isn't that so beautiful and interesting? Okay. Now, I would say to you that where gold is today, that's a $1.1 million market cap, $1.1 million Bitcoin price with a $21.8 trillion market cap when gold is sitting at 22.8. All right. So possibly we could even get a $1.2 million Bitcoin price. I don't know when, but from where we are today, that's a 15.5x, my friend. Where can you increase your wealth by 15.5x? Okay, because gold just added $5.5 trillion. That's $5.5 trillion. That is what percentage? Okay, since December, it's added 31%. We're talking about doubling. I mean, literally 15.5xing your money in Bitcoin. I think you see what it is that I'm trying to point out to you at this moment in this video. So I hope you have enjoyed this video. Make sure to subscribe to the Crypto Bliss community down below so that you are early, because we're still at $87,000 today. And make sure you use my Bible link to buy yourself some of this Bitcoin at $87,000 today, because you're still buying it so cheap. You still have a 15.5x potential over the next 5 to 10 years. Who knows how long it's going to take for us to get there. But my friends, I think it's going to happen a lot faster than we all believe. So thank you for being here with me on the Crypto Bliss community. I truly appreciate you as always, and we will catch you on the next one.